In a far-off corner of the galaxy, humanity's place was still viewed with skepticism and mockery. The great galactic empires, advanced in technology and resources, saw humans as a fleeting, almost laughable species. For centuries, a human race had struggled to carve out a foothold in a galaxy dominated by massive alien fleets and ancient civilizations. To the aliens, humanity was nothing more than a collection of primitive beings trying to find their way among the stars. It was no surprise, then, when a small human fleet, consisting of only a handful of ships, embarked on a mission to explore a newly discovered star system. The fleet's ships were outdated, their technology nowhere near the level of the galactic giants. It was an expedition that most humans believed would be uneventful, nothing more than a routine exploration that could potentially lead to new discoveries or alliances. But little did they know, they were about to come face to face with something much more significant than they could have imagined. As the fleet neared the edge of the star system, they detected a large alien fleet waiting nearby. The aliens, a proud and ancient species, had been in this sector for centuries. With their enormous ships and state-of-the-art weapons, they had complete control of the space around them. When they saw the humans approaching, their reaction was nothing short of contempt. The alien fleet's commanders exchanged derisive comments, laughing at the sight of the small human ships. It wasn't just the size of the fleet that caused them to mock the humans, but their entire existence. To these aliens, the humans were an insignificant blip on the radar, hardly worthy of even a passing thought. They saw the tiny fleet as no more than a curiosity, an easy target for their advanced weaponry. In their eyes, it was almost laughable that the humans would dare to venture into their territory. They had superior numbers, advanced shields, and devastating weaponry. The human fleet didn't stand a chance. But what the aliens didn't realize was that humanity's strength lay not in their numbers or technology, but in their resilience and ingenuity. Admiral Sarah Cole, the leader of the human fleet, wasn't intimidated by the vastness of the alien forces. She had seen the dismissive attitude of other species before. The human race had always been underestimated, yet they had survived countless hardships. She knew that this would be no different. As the alien fleet prepared to make their move, Sarah ordered her ships into a defensive formation. The alien commanders, convinced of their inevitable victory, watched the human fleet with amusement. They could already hear the whispers of their victory in their minds, imagining how they would crush the tiny human ships with ease. The humans would be no match for their overwhelming power. The first moments of the encounter were filled with tension. The human ships moved slowly, carefully, trying to position themselves in a way that could give them even the smallest chance of survival. The aliens, however, wasted no time. Their massive warships moved forward, their weapons powered up and ready to strike. The humans braced for impact, knowing their shields would likely buckle under the force of the alien firepower. But just as the alien fleet was about to unleash its first salvo, something unexpected happened. The human ships, using their limited maneuverability and outdated technology, performed a series of unpredictable moves. It was a dance of desperation, one that the alien fleet hadn't anticipated. They expected the humans to fight with brute force, but instead, they were faced with a tactical dance that caught them off guard. The alien commanders, momentarily stunned by the humans' strange but effective maneuvers, quickly reassessed their approach. At first, they dismissed it as an act of desperation, but the longer the battle raged on, the more they realized that the humans were not just trying to survive, they were actively challenging them. It was as if the humans were daring the aliens to underestimate them, playing a game that the aliens didn't fully understand. The alien fleet's initial arrogance began to crumble as the human fleet proved more resourceful and resilient than they could have ever imagined. For a brief moment, the human ships gained an advantage, maneuvering around the larger alien ships with surprising agility. They weren't going to win this battle by sheer firepower. They were going to win it through determination, creativity, and their unyielding drive to survive. The aliens, who had once mocked the human fleet, now found themselves facing a much more formidable opponent than they had ever anticipated. The tension in the air was palpable as the two fleets continued to clash, each side unwilling to back down. What had started as a mocking encounter was now evolving into something far more dangerous, and the humans had no intention of retreating. They were here to prove they belonged in the stars, no matter what it took. Despite the dismissive laughter from the alien fleet, Admiral Sarah Cole's determination only grew stronger. Her eyes were locked onto the massive enemy ships as they began to position themselves, ready to strike with overwhelming force. The human fleet, though small and outmatched in size and firepower, had something that the aliens underestimated: resilience. Sarah knew this was their moment to prove humanity's worth. Standing before her crew, she addressed them with a fiery speech that ignited the spark of defiance in their hearts. "The galaxy has laughed at us for too long. They think we are weak, that we don't belong among the stars. But we are not here to prove them wrong. We are here to show them that humanity will never back down, no matter the odds." Her words filled the air like a battle cry, and the crew, despite the fear and uncertainty, stood taller. The humans were no longer just trying to survive, they were going to fight with everything they had. As the alien fleet moved in, Sarah's eyes narrowed with focus. She had studied the enemy's movements, their attack patterns, and their weaknesses. The humans might not have the advanced technology or the massive ships, but they had something far more valuable: creativity and resourcefulness. The human fleet, though vastly outnumbered, fell into a tight formation, using their ship's smaller size and agility to their advantage. Every movement was deliberate, every turn calculated. The humans were prepared to fight in ways the aliens wouldn't expect. The first volley of enemy fire came crashing through space, but the human fleet was ready. They dodged, weaving through the blasts with remarkable precision, using the asteroid fields nearby as cover. The aliens, expecting an easy victory, found themselves suddenly confused by the unexpected tactics. The human fleet, though outgunned, was more than a match for the alien arrogance. The battle raged on, and the humans' tactical abilities became clear. Every ship, despite being older and slower, was working in perfect harmony, each crew member playing a crucial part in the defense of their fleet. The aliens at first thought this was a mere fluke, a brief moment of resistance before they crushed the humans beneath their overwhelming firepower. But as the battle dragged on, something began to shift. The humans weren't just surviving, they were holding their ground. Their movements were coordinated, their counterattacks sharp. The aliens, caught off guard by the humans' adaptability, began to realize that this wasn't going to be as easy as they had thought. The humans were more than just a nuisance, they were a threat. With every successful maneuver, with every alien ship that faltered, the humans gained ground. The alien fleet's confidence began to waver as they watched the small human ships defy expectations, surviving longer than anyone had anticipated. They had underestimated the power of human resolve. What began as a mocking encounter was now turning into a serious struggle for the alien fleet. Sarah's mind raced as she watched the battle unfold. Her crew was holding strong, but she knew that their ammunition and energy reserves were limited. They couldn't afford to keep dodging indefinitely. She needed to turn the tide in their favor, fast. A thought flashed through her mind, a daring move that could potentially turn the entire battle. The human fleet's ships weren't fast enough to outrun the aliens, but they were nimble enough to make a daring strike at the alien fleet's command ship. It was a risky gamble, but Sarah had no choice. She issued the order to launch a concentrated strike, aiming directly at the heart of the alien fleet. As the human ships surged forward, the alien fleet's commanders began to panic. The aliens had always relied on overwhelming firepower to crush their enemies, but this new, unpredictable human strategy was throwing them off balance. The human ships, now moving with deadly precision, focused all their energy on disrupting the alien fleet's leadership. The alien command ship, once thought to be untouchable, suddenly found itself surrounded by a swarm of smaller, faster human ships. The aliens fought back fiercely, but the humans, with their tenacity and resourcefulness, managed to land a devastating blow. The alien fleet's command ship began to falter, its systems struggling to remain online as the human ships continued to press the attack. Despite the odds, the humans were proving that they were not just fighters, they were survivors. They had turned the battlefield into a contest of will, and the aliens, for the first time in a long while, began to feel doubt. Could they truly defeat these humans? Could they really wipe them from the stars? The battle was far from over, but one thing was certain: humanity had made its mark. They had earned the respect of the alien fleet, not through strength or technology, but through sheer determination, and that in itself was a victory. The alien fleet, confident in their technological superiority, underestimated the resourcefulness and ingenuity of the humans. As the battle raged on, it became clear that the humans were doing something the aliens hadn't anticipated. The human fleet, despite their outdated technology, was using unconventional tactics that turned the tide in their favor. Admiral Sorokol's fleet began modifying their ships on the fly. An old cruiser now carried newly adapted energy shields scavenged from wrecked alien vessels, while a corvette modified its engines to create bursts of speed that left the alien fleet scrambling. It was a chaotic, unexpected method of warfare, and it was working. The humans set traps, drawing the aliens into ambushes, hiding behind asteroid fields, and using decoys to confuse the enemy. Their ships, though outclassed, were now playing on the alien fleet's assumptions, turning their size and speed into an advantage. Each move the humans made seemed like a stroke of brilliance. It wasn't just the humans' technology that was surprising the aliens. It was their ability to think on their feet, adapt, and outmaneuver their larger, more powerful enemies. With every alien ship that fell or retreated, the humans grew bolder. The alien fleet, unable to deal with the unexpected tactics, started to make mistakes. Ships that once seemed invincible were now retreating, damaged and out of position. The human fleet was small, but they were proving to be much more than a nuisance. Their resilience, combined with their unorthodox strategies, was starting to break the alien fleet's confidence. And just when it seemed the aliens were about to take control of the situation again, something incredible happened. A new presence appeared in the battlefield, something the alien fleet had not prepared for. A sleek, shadow-like ship, almost invisible to the naked eye, silently slid into the fray. The ship wasn't like anything the aliens had seen before. It was human, but it seemed far more advanced than any of the other ships in the fleet. This was no ordinary vessel. It was an experimental stealth ship, designed in secret by human engineers, a last-ditch effort to give the humans an edge in a fight they were already losing. The stealth vessel's hull was coated in a special reflective material that bent light and energy, making it nearly invisible to enemy sensors. The ship moved through the battlefield like a ghost, dodging alien fire with ease. As it fired its weapons, each shot was a calculated strike, taking down alien ships with surgical precision. The alien commanders, who had believed the human fleet to be no more than a distraction, now found themselves facing something they couldn't even track. The once unshakable confidence of the alien fleet leaders began to crack. The alien fleet, accustomed to fighting overwhelming enemies with brute strength, was unprepared for the human ingenuity on display. Their advanced weaponry couldn't hit what they couldn't see, and their large, lumbering warships were no match for the speed and maneuverability of the human ships. As the battle unfolded, it became clear: the humans weren't just fighting with what they had, they were making the most of everything they were given. Even though they were outgunned and outclassed, the human pilots exhibited a level of combat skill that left the aliens in awe. Their movements were sharp, their timing perfect. They had turned the fight into a game of strategy, where every alien move was countered by a human play. It was as if the humans had been playing chess while the aliens were still playing checkers. Each step the humans took was calculated, and every maneuver was more surprising than the last. The human fleet had become a force to be reckoned with, and the battle began to shift in their favor. The alien fleet, once so sure of their victory, was now reeling from the unexpected onslaught. The stealth vessel, along with the quick thinking and improvisation of the rest of the human fleet, was turning the tide. It wasn't just a matter of technology anymore, it was about adaptability, creativity, and the will to fight. The aliens, realizing that their pride had led them to underestimate humanity, began to feel the pressure. Despite their superior numbers and firepower, they were losing control. But the alien commanders, too proud to back down, refused to retreat. They saw this battle as a matter of honor. They would not let the humans defeat them, not when they had come so close to victory. The tension in the air was thick. The alien fleet, despite their losses, regrouped and continued to fight, their anger growing as they pushed forward. But the humans, showing no signs of slowing down, pushed back even harder. They had tasted victory, and now they would not be denied. The humans had proven that they could stand toe-to-toe with the giants of the galaxy, and the aliens would soon learn that no matter the odds, humanity was a force they could never afford to underestimate again. Amid the chaotic battle, as laser fire streaked through the void and the two fleets clashed with relentless fury, something unexpected happened. A sudden, unexplained signal began to pulse on the human fleet's sensors. It was faint at first, like a whisper in the vastness of space, but it grew stronger as they approached. Sarah Cole, ever the strategist, ordered a course change. She suspected it was no mere anomaly. After a few minutes of searching, her suspicions proved true. The signal was emanating from deep within the asteroid belts surrounding the star system, an area the aliens had considered to be nothing more than a dangerous, empty expanse. But there, hidden beneath layers of debris, was something far more significant, an ancient alien station, long forgotten and seemingly untouched by time. To the alien fleet, it was nothing but a relic of the past, an insignificant ruin that had been abandoned for centuries. But to Sarah and her crew, it was a potential treasure trove of information and technology. With the battle still raging above them, Sarah made a bold decision. She ordered a small team, including herself, to investigate the station. The rest of the fleet would continue to hold their ground against the aliens, but the risk of discovering this lost outpost could change everything. Time was not on their side, and the opportunity to find something that might turn the tide of the war was too valuable to ignore. As the team descended to the station, the humans marveled at the sight of it. The structure was massive, sprawling, and designed in a style that was both unfamiliar and awe-inspiring. It was clear that the station was not just a research outpost or a military base. It was a hub of ancient, powerful technology. The humans cautiously entered the station, their footsteps echoing in the empty halls as they made their way deeper inside. The station's systems, still faintly operational despite its age, hummed quietly in the background. It wasn't long before Sarah's team stumbled upon a massive chamber filled with dormant alien machinery, machines that, according to their records, had been abandoned after a long-forgotten war between the aliens and a now-extinct race. The machinery in the chamber was unlike anything the humans had ever seen. Its design was elegant yet formidable, clearly designed for war and advanced technology far beyond anything the human race had ever encountered. The team quickly realized that this wasn't just any old technology. This was the key to shifting the balance of power in their favor. Ancient weapons, energy systems, and shield technology was scattered throughout the station, each one more advanced than anything the aliens had. And it wasn't just the tech that was fascinating. It was the knowledge contained within the station's vast databanks. Sarah and her engineers began to pore over the data, deciphering information that had been locked away for centuries. This knowledge was worth more than any weapon. It could provide the humans with a strategic advantage they desperately needed. Without hesitation, Sarah gave the order to begin extracting the most valuable technologies. The team worked quickly, transferring the most crucial components to the fleet's ships. But it wasn't just about the technology, it was about how the humans could use it. Sarah, with her keen understanding of tactics, began to devise a new strategy, one that utilized the alien tech in ways that the aliens would never expect. The advanced weaponry they had uncovered would be adapted to fit the human ships. The energy systems would allow for greater firepower and faster speeds. The shields would provide the protection they needed to stand up to the overwhelming alien forces. The humans, once seen as weak and inferior, now had the tools to challenge the galaxy's most powerful fleets. As the team made their way back to the fleet, Sarah's mind raced with possibilities. The battle above was far from over, but the discovery of the ancient station had given humanity something the alien fleet couldn't anticipate: a new, unexpected strength. The human fleet, now armed with this advanced technology, began to turn the tide of the battle. Their weapons, once ineffective against the alien shields, now cut through the enemy defenses with ease. Their ships moved faster, their attacks more precise. And with each alien ship that fell, the humans grew more confident in their new advantage. The alien fleet, still unaware of the source of this newfound strength, began to falter. The battle was no longer a fight for survival. It was a fight for dominance. And with the new technology at their disposal, the humans were no longer the underdogs. They were a force to be reckoned with. The alien fleet, once so sure of their victory, now found themselves facing a threat they hadn't prepared for. The balance of power had shifted, and humanity was determined to make its mark on the galaxy. The alien fleet, now fully aware of the humans' ability to adapt quickly to their advanced technology, realized they were facing something more dangerous than they had ever anticipated. Initially, they had written off the humans as a small, inferior force, one that could be easily crushed. But with every passing moment, the humans proved them wrong. The alien commanders, once filled with overwhelming confidence, began to panic as their initial tactics failed. They had underestimated the humans' ingenuity, and now they were paying the price. In desperation, the alien fleet deployed their most powerful warships, massive vessels brimming with firepower and advanced weaponry. The aliens believed that sheer might would finally overpower the humans. They would crush the small human fleet under a tide of relentless blasts. But the humans were ready. Admiral Sarah Cole, now fully in control of the advanced alien technology they had uncovered, had been carefully crafting a new strategy, one that turned the tide of war in their favor. Her fleet, armed with cutting-edge weaponry and advanced shield technology, moved with a new confidence. They weren't just surviving anymore, they were striking back with deadly precision. The humans' first move came as a surprise to the alien fleet. As one of the massive alien warships moved into range, the humans unleashed a weapon the aliens had never seen before. A devastating pulse cannon, powered by the stolen alien technology, fired a single powerful blast. The pulse slammed into the alien warship's shields, and within moments, the entire ship went dark, its systems completely disabled. The humans had found the perfect counter to the alien fleet's heavy armor, a weapon capable of disabling entire warships with a single shot. The alien fleet was thrown into disarray. They had never faced anything like this before. Their most powerful ships, once thought invincible, were now vulnerable to a weapon they couldn't defend against. The pulse cannon was a game-changer, and the humans were using it with deadly efficiency. Each shot taken by Sarah's fleet disabled another alien warship, and the alien commanders began to panic. Their fleet, once so confident, was now falling apart under the precision of the humans' attacks. The humans' ability to quickly adapt to the new technology, combined with their cunning tactics, had turned the battle into a nightmare for the aliens. They had gone from laughing at the humans to desperately trying to survive their attacks. As the humans began to gain the upper hand, the galactic community started to take notice. News of the battle spread quickly, reaching distant star systems and powerful intergalactic governments. The humans, once seen as insignificant and weak, were now a force to be reckoned with. The tides of war had shifted, and the aliens were struggling to maintain control. The reputation of humanity, once a joke among the galaxy's most powerful civilizations, was beginning to change. The humans had proven they could not only survive against overwhelming odds, they could fight and win. The galactic community, watching the events unfold, could no longer dismiss humanity as a mere curiosity. The humans had earned the respect of those who had once mocked them. They had become a force that could not be ignored. The battle raged on, but the humans now had the momentum. With each pulse from their cannons, with each alien warship disabled, the alien fleet's morale weakened. Sarah's fleet continued to press the attack, using their newfound strength to hit hard and fast, never giving the aliens a moment to recover. The alien commanders, frustrated and fearful, began to make mistakes the humans were quick to exploit. The war was no longer about survival. It was about victory, and the humans were showing that they were more than capable of achieving it. The human fleet, once a small, disorganized group of ships, had transformed into a well-oiled machine. The combination of strategy, technology, and unrelenting determination had given them the upper hand. And as the alien fleet continued to crumble under the weight of the humans' attack, it became clear the galaxy would never look at humanity the same way again. The alien fleet, once so sure of their superiority, was now in total disarray. Their most powerful warships had been disabled by the humans' devastating pulse cannons, and their forces were rapidly being decimated. The pride of the alien commanders had been shattered. Their fleet, once a symbol of dominance, was crumbling before their eyes. It became painfully clear to them that continuing to fight would only lead to further defeat. The aliens had underestimated the humans from the beginning, dismissing them as nothing more than a nuisance, but the humans had proven they were a force capable of turning the tide of war. Now, with their fleet in ruins and their pride in tatters, the alien commanders were left with no choice but to seek an end to the conflict. In a last-ditch effort to salvage their reputation, the alien leaders sent a delegation to the human fleet, hoping to negotiate a ceasefire. They approached Sarah Cole with an offer of peace, their tone begrudging but respectful. The alien commanders, though unwilling to admit defeat, acknowledged the humans' tenacity and the skill with which they had fought. They had never imagined that the humans could turn the tide in such a spectacular fashion. The offer of a ceasefire was a clear sign that the aliens recognized their vulnerability. They could no longer afford to underestimate humanity. However, Sarah and her team had no interest in simply surviving. The humans had already proved their resilience. Now it was time to ensure that their place in the galaxy was secured. Sarah listened to the aliens' offer, but her response was firm and resolute. "We are not here to simply survive," she said, her voice carrying the weight of everything humanity had fought for. "We are here to make it clear that humanity is no longer to be ignored. We will not be treated as weaklings, not by anyone. You will respect our place in this galaxy." The alien leaders, still smarting from their losses and wary of further escalation, were taken aback by Sarah's uncompromising stance. They had expected the humans to accept their ceasefire offer with relief, but instead, they found themselves being confronted with a new reality. Humanity was no longer the underdog. The human fleet had fought with ingenuity, determination, and strategy, and now the aliens were being forced to acknowledge that humanity had earned their respect. Despite their initial reluctance, the alien commanders recognized that continuing the war would lead to more defeat, and perhaps even their ultimate destruction. The humans had proven that they were a powerful force, one that could not be easily crushed. The treaty they now offered was not just a sign of survival, it was a recognition of humanity's newfound power in the galaxy. The aliens, begrudgingly, agreed to the terms set by the humans. They would sign a peace treaty, acknowledging humanity as a legitimate and powerful force in the galaxy, deserving of the same respect as any other advanced civilization. The humans had won more than just the battle, they had won their place in the galactic order. The alien leaders, while still harboring resentment, had no choice but to accept the reality that humanity was now a force to be reckoned with. The treaty marked a turning point, not just in the war, but in the way the galaxy would view humanity from that point on. No longer would they be seen as weak or insignificant. The humans had proven that they could stand toe-to-toe with the greatest powers in the galaxy, and they had earned the right to be treated as equals. As the treaty was signed, the humans celebrated not just a victory in battle, but a victory for their place in the universe. Sarah Cole, standing at the heart of it all, knew this was just the beginning. The galaxy had taken notice of humanity's strength, and there would be no going back. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear: humanity had arrived. The war that had once seemed a desperate struggle for survival had transformed into an undeniable victory for the human race. The news of their unexpected triumph spread like wildfire across the galaxy, reverberating through every corner of the universe. The small human fleet, which had been dismissed as insignificant and doomed, had not only survived, but had defeated one of the most powerful forces in the galaxy. Their victory was not just a military success, it was a testament to the resilience, ingenuity, and unwavering spirit of humanity. The once dismissed tiny fleet was now seen as an equal to any other in the galaxy, if not more formidable. The galaxy's most powerful civilizations, who had once laughed at the humans, now looked on with a mixture of awe and respect. Admiral Sarah Cole and her crew were hailed as heroes. They had led humanity to an improbable victory, defying the odds and proving that the human spirit could not be crushed. The treaty they had forced the alien leaders to sign became a symbol of humanity's newfound power and place in the interstellar community. No longer were humans the underdogs, they had earned their rightful place as a force to be reckoned with. News of their triumph spread through diplomatic channels, military forums, and even the halls of power on distant worlds. Diplomats, strategists, and military commanders from across the galaxy took note of humanity's strength. The days of underestimating humans were over. But while the humans celebrated their hard-earned victory, they knew this was only the beginning. The battle had been won, but the war for their future had just begun. The galaxy, with its untold mysteries and vast potential, was still largely unexplored. There were countless stars to chart, unknown civilizations to encounter, and challenges to overcome. Humanity, with its newfound strength and respect, was now poised to embark on a journey beyond their wildest dreams. The future was open to them in a way it never had been before. As the celebrations began, Sarah Cole stood on the bridge of her flagship, looking out at the stars. The once foreign and intimidating void of space now felt like an opportunity. The galaxy was vast, and humanity was no longer a small player in its grand story. The respect they had earned would allow them to explore, to make alliances, and to carve out their place among the stars. The strength that had seen them through the war, the strength of unity, determination, and adaptability, would be the foundation for their future endeavors. They had fought and won against overwhelming odds, and now they would continue to fight for their place in the universe. Sarah knew that the challenges ahead would be just as daunting as the battle they had just fought. But she also knew that humanity's greatest strength was not in their weapons or their technology. It was in their unyielding spirit and relentless will to survive. It was in their ability to adapt, to learn, and to grow stronger with each trial. Humanity had proven that they could face the impossible and come out victorious. The galaxy had witnessed their courage, and now they would see what humans could achieve when they set their minds to something. As Sarah looked out at the stars, she felt a deep sense of pride in what they had accomplished. The journey was far from over, but humanity was no longer a small, insignificant race. They were a force to be reckoned with, a force that would shape the future of the galaxy. With each new step they took, they would carry with them the legacy of their triumph, a legacy built on resilience, determination, and the unbreakable will to survive. Humanity's place in the stars was secured, and their journey had only just begun.